Welcome to my Mesolithic pit experiment. Here I am digging a Mesolithic pit. Why? Well, because Mesolithic people dug a lot of pits and we don't really know why. People think they might have been ritual or perhaps they were hunting pits, but we don't really have much of a clue. I'm just testing out the idea really that perhaps they were used for smoking hides and drying food to make the best use of seasonal abundance of deer and salmon and skins. And I think these things are much underrepresented in archaeologists' minds. And I'm testing this idea that a lot of the Mesolithic pits were for smoking hides and drying food for long-term preservation. So here we go. Here's me digging a pit.
Hello! So, had a bit of a event yesterday. As I was digging my hole with my trusty digging stick, found a load of flint. And then I was like, oh my God, I've got an archaeological site in my back garden. Because I go field walking with a Mesolithic group when we spot flint. So I'm programmed to see flint. So I found all these little bits of flint, but I realised after I'd gone out to the tool station and bought a sieve, excavated a load of stuff, made it square into a test pit, measured it up, got a form and everything, I realised that they are probably bits from garden, like gravel, like the stuff you get in people's driveways, because none of it looks worked. It just all looks, there's no natural flint in this area, so it's been brought in. Oh my God. Anyway, so we've got now a squarish pit, and the spoiler's all there instead of all round. But never mind, we'll work with it. It's not going to be perfect. Anyway, so let's measure it. Let's see how deep we've got. The original pits were about 3 meters wide by 2 meters deep, so big pits. This is not my back garden. So we've got, how deep is this? Stick this across. This is about 45 centimeters there, about 48 there, in that region. And width-wise, we've got, it's about 70 long and about 70 wide. So it's a much smaller pit than the original ones. Some of those were smaller though, but I'm hoping it'll give approximation anyway. I'm going to put some play sand in the bottom because this is soil. The originals were all dug in this really sandy riverbank, river terrace type material with gravel running through it, very well drained. This is normal soil, but it's quite sandy and well drained. So I'm going to put sand in the bottom just so that I can see the charcoal better and it acts a little bit more like the original substrate. Let's just remeasure that, make sure it's not too deep. I think it's a very thin layer. No, it's about the same. Right, so now we're going to put our little structure up. No idea what this did actually look like. Could have been things straight across, but I reckon with the rubbishy little Mesolithic saws that they had in their hafted tools, in their composite blades, they would probably have not wanted to cut anything too thick. And I got this willow from a local woodland, and it's pretty easy to get off the tree. I did use a pruning saw because I wasn't going down to the woodland with a hafted Mesolithic saw, but I have cut things like this with my Mesolithic composite tools, and I've found it okay. Actually, you can do it. Now I'm going to give it a go. What I'm going to do, because willow's bendy, I'm going to angle them all in to make like a dome. I'm hoping that it sort of comes together at the top and you can mesh these twiggy bits, which I've left on, together. So let's see if it works. I'll probably hem myself in. That's bent at the bottom because these willow grows like mad, doesn't it? And this was growing from a tree which had been cut, which was, willow's immortal. Right, let's give this a go there. And this is the other original pits. They described the bottom layer as being essentially sterile, is what they said. So basically it's got these, I wonder if I can bend that right over. Yeah, probably can actually. Might do that. Might bend that right over, stick that in. Might break that off. Yeah, they described the bottom layer as being essentially sterile. That's what they said. There we are, that's good. And so I think that was because it's very loose substrate that we're digging. Maybe put one of these in. Do the two leaders. And you know when you dig a big wide hole like that and it's all loose, you're going to end up kicking half of it in when you get out. They'd have had to climb out of these pits as they finished them. And as you're digging, you're probably just hoofing the spoil around in a big circle like I did yesterday. Got to give the dog a ball. And you probably end up like kicking half of it in when you get out, and then putting these things around, you're going to be knocking some back in. So before they've even set the fire, I imagine they ended up knocking some of the sand back in. I think I'll put these in and then I'll bend them over. Willow's great, isn't it? Ooh, some roots to get through there. There we are. Oh, what I'm going to use this big hole for. I'll just fill it back in. This is where we put the step ladder to put the pick the plum tree. So could make a pond. It's not an ideal spot. Right. Let's see. We're getting there, aren't we? Is this sort of working? Ugh. Get that right in. That one's a bit broken. I tried to bend it too much. See, I'm knocking some stuff in there, just getting out. This is forming a structure. And we can bend these together. That could go maybe all the way around. Push it in the other side. Oh, maybe I'll have to cut that. I think I'll have to cut that first. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm going to finish this off and then I'll come back to you. Right, I've got my meat, I've got my fish, a bit of salmon. It's a bit scrappily cut up, but we're going to drape it over these branches. It's quite a lot of them. I think this would have worked really well. It's nice and clean, this willow. There's loads of little bits of it, so your meat's not going to fall off. You can move it around as well. There's the dog wanting some, but we're going to do something about that in a minute, because she's going to act as my proxy predator. Yes, Bramble, you. Yes, you. No, you can smell this, can't you? Yeah, so would the wolves, darling. So would the wolves. They would have smelt it. I'm going to put these on the under bit, like that. Yeah. Yeah, you're wolf. You are. Look at your dirty snout. She's ball obsessed. She's looking at the ball more than the meat. Right, we're going to go through and hang all this on. So that's my meat and fish all on. I've put it on sort of the lower layer, and then, pound shop cave woman that I am, I have stitched together some chamois leathers, because I don't have access to a deer hide. I mean, who does? If you're a stalker or a gamekeeper or something, or one of these actual proper survival people. I'm just a woman who lives in the suburbs. So we've got this pound shop deer hide. It was a stand-in, right? So we're going to stick that on top. I have actually got a piece of real deer hide, which I'm going to put on as well, but only a little piece. It's just what I managed to get off a deer leg that somebody gave me. So we've got that on. I've got a little bit of green cordage, which I'm going to use to tie it down because I don't want it to blow off. And I think that will probably keep in a lot of the smoke because we want it to stay within the structure. So let's do that. Right, we've out the way bramble, we don't need to get burnt. We've got an ember from a fire here. I think they'd taken ember from the actual fire. This is still burning, obviously. And there we go. And they would put it in, left a gap to start the fire. And then they would throw some little dry sticks. These are birch on top. Right, let's get a few more. Right, we need a bit more. We do need a bit more. Right, let's put some of this on. This is rosebay willow herb. Not Mesolithic, but it might do the job to act as a sort of starter to get these sticks going. Let's see if that works. You don't want to put too much fuel in because we don't want this to actually burn. It's still smoking. It's not gone out. See if we're patient. Might stick another ember in a minute. We'll see. You see, you've still got gaps for the wind to get in. Still going. Just needs the wind to blow it one time. Still smoking. I can hear it crackling, crackling. I don't want to put too many embers in. I don't want it to actually be a fire. This is slightly rotten birch twigs that I collected from the woods. In the actual Mesolithic ones, there was birch, mostly hazel, because it was awash with hazel then. But we don't have hazelwoods like that anymore. So it was mostly hazel with some willow, some birch, some holly, some oak. I think that's about it. They know that from the charcoal analysis. Very little charcoal, very small wind-blown charcoal, but they did have some, especially in the upper layers. But the lower layers were Mesolithic. The upper layers were Neolithic mostly, and they had, oh yes, all right, dog. They had tiny little pieces of charcoal. But I'm going to go and get another ember. Right, is that doing the do? Smoking. Is it going to light that rosebay willow herb? Wind's blowing it. See if I can move some of those sticks so they're on top of it. Maybe you had a small child in there tending it. Get in there! Oh, but Mum! Get in there! This is your dinner! Oh, all right then. Did they have surly teenagers in those days? I bet they did. I've had these sticks sort of drying out in my studio for about 4 or 5 days, but they're kind of partly rotten because you don't want a big fire. It's still smoking. Is it going to go? Still going. Let's stick one more ember in. I know what I need, my pokey stick. Let's get my digging stick. You always need a pokey stick with a fire, don't you? It's one of the great pleasures in life, poking a fire. Right, let's get that willow herb on there. I mean, I could have tried to pretend to light a fire with like dry sticks and shit, but you know, I have matches. Let's see if that goes. It's going, I think. It's not going out. Right, this is a bit tedious. I'll cut to the chase. Right, we've got that fire going now. It's just a tiny fire. We don't really want much heat from it at all. Right, so this is the end of about the second day, and it's been a massive pain to keep going. You have to keep feeling it small sticks, so I can't bother doing anymore. So we're going to unravel and see. As you can see, I had to put a lot more tea towels and stuff around to keep the smoke in. So, and this chamois leather, this pretend deer skin over once, and you can actually see the sort of marks where the sticks were. So it has changed colour a fair bit. That's what it looks like. I've tied it down there, so let's just put it there. Right, I had a little temperature logger in, which is 15 degrees now, but it's not been more than 30 the whole time. And the meat, let's take it off and have a look. That's pretty crispy, pretty sort of jerky like, not completely dried out though. Let's have a look at some salmon. It's more meat. Yeah, quite done. I mean, I'd say that's pretty preserved. Let's have a look at the salmon. Salmon's a lot moister still. So look at the fat. Fat's still quite fatty, but I suppose fat doesn't go off quite so much unless it's hot. It'll go rancid eventually, but it takes a while. Fat's pretty smoky. So I'm going to take all these bits of food off. Oh, let's have a look at the deer skin. This is the piece of deer skin. Oh yeah, that's gone really dark. Smells smoky. It's gone really, quite crispy. I'd have to run that over a stick to soften it up. Right, I'm going to take all these bits of meat off, and then we're going to look at the charcoal that's in the bottom. Right, so that's all the meat off. So it's quite, it's fairly dried. It's not super crispy, but it's fairly dried. I'm going to try some in a minute. This is the salmon. It's still got more moisture in it, the salmon. But, you know, super smoked. That's the fat. That's still a bit squidgy. This is pretty crispy, you can hear. I reckon that I keep for quite a long time. I'm going to be courageous and eat some, I think, in a minute. And then this is the pit. So this is our little network. I did all the holly around the edge to keep the cats off. Nothing seemed to have got in. This has not been smoked at all. Well, it's been smoked, but it's not been charred or anything. Still looks pretty green. And then that's the charcoal that we've got left in the bottom. I did actually dig the pit a little bit more conical shaped in the bottom because the flat bottom wasn't working, because you have to keep all the ashes into one little place, otherwise the fire just keeps going out. I think that's probably why they needed a round bottom. So that's the charcoal. It's actually still slightly hot, so I might leave that till tomorrow, where I will dig it all out carefully when there's a bit more light and measure it all and weigh it and have a look. But for now I'm just going to leave it in case it'll burn out a little bit more. I might put the covers back over. So let's have a little try of this meat. Let's try. Let's choose a bit that's quite well done. Right. I haven't put any salt on it because I reckon they didn't have salt. That's nice. That's good. And really lightweight travel food. If you're moving territory at the end of the season, that's perfect. Rucksack durable, light, keep for ages. That's good. Oh, right. See you tomorrow when we'll weigh the charcoal. So, this is sort of the important bit, really. This is what you're going to see in the charcoal deposits in the Mesolithic pits. So, it's what survives the archaeological record. This here is the partially charred wood. It's only partially burnt. I think maybe that might not have survived because it would have rotted away because it's not preserved by burning. This is the charcoal. Now, this is the amount of charcoal that burnt over probably a 24-hour period in total, 2 12-hour days. I did it from dusk till dawn. I didn't maintain it through the night. 2 Aldi carry bags full of sticks, all sticks of birch and beech, mostly birch. They had mostly hazel and a few of other species, but obviously we're not surrounded by hazel woodland. So there's not a lot of charcoal. This is like the biggest piece. And that's a big piece, but all the rest are tiny little pieces. So I'm not sure how much would have survived through the millennia, through the years, intervening years between deposition. And this is from just one layer, because I just did one burning. They would have repeatedly come back to the same pits and use them time and time again. So you see different layers of charcoal deposit with silt. So usually at the bottom is sterile with just sand and gravel, which is, I think, when they kicked in stuff as they were climbing out of the pit. Then you get the charcoaly deposits. There's nothing in the papers that I can see, or maybe it's an appendix, I've missed it, where they quantify the amount, but small piece of charcoal and ash, and then other layers of like where it's eroded and fallen in. Oh, the dog's wanting a ball. And then sort of like more erosion, and then another charcoal layer. It goes off up like that until at the top, usually that's much more charcoal at the top. And I think, and that's later, and I think that was Neolithic people using them as like fire pits for having proper fires in for cooking food, because by that time the river terrace had moved, the river had moved down the way. They were a bit further from the river. It was like a more settlement campy type scenario. So yeah, it's not a lot of charcoal. I'm going to weigh this and I'm going to bag it all, and then I'm going to show it to the archaeologists and see what they make of it. I'll show them this video and see what they think, and maybe they'll come back to us with a, oh no, that's absolute rubbish. But maybe they'll go, could be, because no one really knows. That's the thing. It's a mystery. Oh, I better throw the dog a ball. Anyway, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, as they say. I'm going to have to think of a sign off like I'm delicious, like Garen, but I haven't got one yet, but I will get one. Anyway, take care, folks. Bye.